Welcome in to another Running with the Wolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and I'm joined as always by Chris Emerson. Chris, how we doing?
We're doing great. We got a couple All-Stars. We're still first in the West. Coach Finch is about to earn his spot in the All-Star game, so I'm excited.
Absolutely. And I do want to bring up this. We got a little business to take care of as first. I want to promote the upcoming, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but I found this on Facebook, and it's a great opportunity for you to meet with other Wolves fans. It's the Park Tavern. It's called the Thirsty Pups Wolves Watch Party. And basically, you just come, you go drink some beer, you have a good time with the other Wolves fan, and you watch the game. So games that they are doing Tuesday, so this coming Tuesday versus Chicago at 7 p.m. Then Thursday, 2-8 versus Milwaukee. I know you'll be in Milwaukee for that one. At 7 p.m. Monday, 2-12 versus LAC. So the Clippers at 9:30. And I want to make this announcement. We are going to be doing a live podcast live from the Park Tavern on 2/15. So not this coming Thursday, but the next Thursday for the game versus Portland. So we're going to go there, going to have some fun, do the game, and then after the game, we're going to be doing a live podcast with the two guys over there. It's going to be tons of fun. So if you're in the area, particularly in the St. Louis Park area, or if you're just in the metro or anywhere around Minneapolis, come on down. It's on 2/15 this month. We'll be doing a live podcast from Park Tavern in St. Louis Park. So it's going to be a fun time.
I don't know much about the Park Tavern, but I've heard about it. I've always heard the name, and I've heard it's kind of a cool place, or it's got some sort of aura to it. So I'm excited to see what it's all about.
Absolutely. It'll be a fun time, and just a good, honestly, come armed with questions as well. We'd love to do some live question and answering questions you may have, or just comments as well. So again, join us. I want to mention it one more time. All the details are being sorted out right now, but what we do know, 2:15, 9 p.m. against Portland at the Park Tavern, Thirsty Pups Wolves Watch Party. It's going to be a good time. We'll be there. Anyway, let's get right into it. So the Wolves beat the Mavericks last night, the shorthanded Mavericks last night. Not much to talk about from that game. So let's get into the big news of the day. The Wolves get not one, which we knew that they were going to get at least one. They get two All-Stars. They get Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards into the All-Star game, and I would say deserving. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments. There's always arguments in the All-Star game. Like, I think Houston has a real solid argument about Sengun, maybe deserving it over Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, his numbers probably are a little better, but you've got to honor winning. We're number one in the West, so I mean, I think we deserve two. I personally would have probably said Rudy should have got in, being the defensive player of the year right now, like runaway winner candidate for that. Second in the league in rebounds, leading the number one ranked defense in the NFL or NBA. But I'll take whatever they give us, we haven't got a lot of respect for a long time. So I'll take what we can get.
And you mentioned stats when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, and I will refute that a little bit. For a guy that takes a lot of three-pointers, he's shooting at seventh best in the league from behind the three-point line. I saw something for his career, and obviously I'm talking about career here. He is the best statistically. I'm not talking about what he says or whatever. He is statistically the best three-point shooting 7-footer in the history of the NBA, or in the history of the NBA. He's shooting 40% on his career, and this year he's shooting 44% from the three-point line, good for seventh in the league. And when you look at some of these other guys that are higher than him on 3-point shooting. Grayson Allen, 3-point specialist. Aaron Nesmith, 3-point specialist. Norman Powell, kind of a scorer, 3-point specialist. Jalen Williams, 3-point specialist. Kevin Durant, I'll give you. Malik Beasley, and then Karl Anthony Towns. Towns might be, other than Kevin Durant, be the only guy on that list that is called upon to put up 20, 25 points every single night.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's great. I wish he did more. I wish he shot more threes. He's kind of been upticking that recently a little bit, so I like to see that. But yeah, I mean, he's a great player, and deservingly so to be an all-star. It's just, it's tough to make the all-star in the team in the West, no matter who you are. So I'm proud that we got a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's take a look at the All-Star game as a whole. We'll talk about the reserves. Let's start in the Western Conference. Devin Booker gets in, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, as we mentioned, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns. Now, you already mentioned maybe you would have gone with Gobert. Who do you think is the biggest snub on this list?
Snub that, or a guy that made it that I don't think should have?
No, either way, like that didn't make it and you would put it in, or who would be your West All-Star reserve team?
There's nobody from the Kings right now. So I mean Sabonis, I think, has a legit shot. I know Fox has kind of cooled off this month, so maybe that's what hurt him, but they're sitting at, fifth in the West, and then they have no All-Stars, and the Suns are sitting at 6, and they have 2 All-Stars. So, I mean, it's not all based on record, but that seems a little bit off for me. Sengun, I mean, they're 11th, so I get it. They're kind of dropped a ways, but, 2 guys on the Lakers who are the 9th team, maybe that's a little bit much. I don't know. Like, it depends on how you value the All-Star game. Is it just for stars, like guys that, are box office that sell tickets and jerseys, or is it for to honor guys that are on a winning team and contributing to a winning team? Like, it just depends on how you rate things. Kind of like when you say most valuable player, like, is it the best player in the NBA, or is it the guy that's, the best player on the best team? It just depends on how you cut the words apart.
Sorry, I think I muted it for a second there, but I think we're back here. Actually, I'm sorry. Keep talking. I gotta fix.
Yeah, the one guy that I really think, I mean, we haven't touched on the East yet, but I was looking at this just a second ago. Is I can't believe the type of numbers that Trae Young puts up, and he always gets snubbed for the All-Star team. Like, this guy, the last 2 years, has been putting up 26, 27 points a game and 10 or 11 assists a game, and he hasn't been an All-Star either one of those games. It kind of blows my mind. I don't know what it is with the NBA and him, but they seem to not like the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, my All-Star snubs, I think the biggest one, and you mentioned Sabonis a lot. I think De'Aaron Fox, although he has missed a couple games for sure. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to play in this All-Star game. I think he's hurt tonight. He always seems to be hurt. Who knows if the Lakers are even going to let him play in this All-Star game. I wouldn't say that for most players, but with how much Anthony Davis is getting hurt, I wouldn't doubt that the Lakers would be like, we don't want to risk him right now, particularly with how fragile that team is. Now, would they put in someone like Rudy Gobert? I don't know. And whether this is fair or not, I think the NBA All-Star game is a lot about exciting players. Like it's an entertainment at the end of the day. So they want to put on a show. And I know that Rudy Gobert's made it before, but I don't see how the NBA would bypass someone like Sabonis or Fox.
Yeah, I mean, I lost a little bit what you're saying there, but one question that I have is, you know, I wonder who picks like the injury reserves. Is it the coaches for the team that's coaching the West? Are they the ones that pick like the injury reserved guy, or is there like a committee of coaches? Or I wonder who's the one who goes about and picks that team or
Yeah,
those replacements.
I don't know. It's an interesting question. Sorry, having a few mic issues. If you're listening on the Spotify, I will have them fixed by that time. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I think it has to do with some of the fan vote, but I think a lot of it has to do with the coaches' votes as well. Other snubs, like you said, Sagoon is interesting.
I think Chet could be in there. Like when you're the number 2 team, well, I guess they're number 3 now. Did Murray make it?
Yes, Murray did not.
Okay, so I mean, you've got the number 2 and the number 3 team in the West, and teams, and one's a championship team, and the other one, is a surprise team of the year right now, maybe with OKC, well, and us probably. You would think that they could get 2 each over some of these bum teams that are like 9th and 10th in the West that have 2, but again, is it box office? Is it historic? I mean, there's so many guys that get all-star, games that didn't deserve it, and they're just from years past performance.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Paul George, is he in there this year? Did he make it?
Paul George did. Him and Kawhi made it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just it's a hard list to make right now.
Yeah, the only one that I was intrigued by, Devin Booker has missed a lot of games this season. Now, So has Anthony Davis as well, but you almost feel like you got to have those big names in there. And to their credit, Suns are really turning it around, so you need a representative from them, although they've
got Durant.
Yeah, you do have Durant, but I mean, to his credit, Booker has carried the Suns when Beal's been out, when Durant's been out as well. So he's put up some big numbers. He is an absolute stud. Remember a couple years ago when we were talking potentially pairing up Ant with Devin Booker? We were having that talk.
Well, was it Cat and Booker?
Was it Cat and Booker?
Because they're buddies. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the talk was maybe
they're all buddy with D'Lo too. Yeah. That would have been an interesting big 3.
It was like the pick, D'Lo, or it was the pick and like Beasley and some guys for Booker, which who knows, that might have worked out for both teams.
It might have. Plus, imagine if we had Ant in that too. Oh man. Woo. Now, to be fair, I will say Ant is a very ball dominant guy, not necessarily all day, but particularly late in games. I wonder how that would have worked out with Booker, but that's just hearsay now. So let's go over the Eastern Conference reserves. Bam Adebayo, Julius Randle, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown, and Paolo Banchero makes his first NBA All-Star game. Congratulations to him. And now I know that the Magic have been slumping a little bit lately, but congratulations to Paolo Banchero. I think he's playing both games. I think he's playing the Rising Star and he's playing the NBA All-Star game. So your thoughts on those picks?
This is good. I'm kind of looking at it right now. Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with much of those. Like I said, Trae Young, they're 10th though, but Trae Young, I mean, 27 and 11 and not in the All-Star game is crazy to me.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, he doesn't play defense. I get it, but neither do half those guys in the All-Star team.
Neither does Luka.
Guys in the All-Star. None of those guys do, except for Edwards. I mean, some do obviously, but not a lot.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the big guys play defense, like Anthony or Davis plays defense.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I saw some highlights, not to go to the Western Conference. I saw some highlights of Luka Doncic playing defense.
No,
there's a reason he is a one-tool player because his defense is awful.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things where why waste my energy on that when I've got to carry this entire ball club on the other side? I mean, we kind of got a glimpse of what they look like. I mean, of course, Kyrie was out too, but they're really pretty terrible without Luka and Kyrie. So there's a lot of weight on Luka's shoulders for a guy like him. So I get it.
Yeah, I'm looking. The very interesting thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the Western Conference, although they have a decent record this year, and maybe a lot of this is injury, no Pelicans on the roster.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
The only thing I could have seen was Zion is so dominant when he's out there. I could have seen them giving the nod to that, but he's missed so much.
Yeah.
I think the NBA is chomping at the bits to put Zion Williamson in an All-Star game at some point. He just didn't play enough games, so they couldn't put him in this year.
Well, I mean, he's been in a couple of them, hasn't he? I mean, I think he's made a couple.
Oh, has he?
I think he made his rookie year. I think he like got fan voted in like as a starter, maybe almost like they love him.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, he's just I don't know. Talk about a one-trick pony. I mean, that dude literally has one move, but nobody can stop it. So what do you do?
Yeah, it's true.
And if you want to talk about not playing defense, geez, man, for such a big, strong guy, and for being so quick in like short areas with the ball and so explosive, he is absolutely worthless on defense. Like target him all game long, and you've got easy buckets.
Yeah, I think there's more snubs now. Obviously, like you were saying, the big one in the Eastern Conference is Trae Young, which I don't know. I'm on the fence because my friend's a big Hawks fan, so he watches a lot of Hawks basketball. So I'm a little on the fence on that one because he does score a lot of points, but he also chucks up a lot of shots. Yeah. I think in his head, and he does make some of them, I think in his head, Trae Young thinks that he's Steph Curry. I really do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what he's probably modeled this game after his whole life. I mean, he gets 3 times the assists that Steph Curry does, so there's definitely a little difference there. But
now, go ahead.
I mean, a lot of shots goes with a lot of points. I mean, everyone likes to cheer for Michael Jordan for all the scoring titles he had, but he led the league in shots each one of those years too. So, you got to put up a lot of shots to score a lot of points.
Now, the other one, and this is what the Western Conference as well, other snub you could mention, Lauri Markkanen, maybe.
I love Lauri. I love his game. Where's he? Where are they? I mean, where are the Jazz at though?
I think they're hovering around the Lakers. I'm pretty sure.
Tied. They're tied for 10th, 9th, 10th. Yeah, I mean, he's got a legit shot. He's worthy. There's just the league is so talented right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, so much talent in the NBA. We're pretty lucky to be in this era right now.
I'm looking up a list of the worst All-Stars in NBA history, and some that come to mind in particular. Not that he was an All-Star, because they did go on to, I believe, win the NBA championship that year. But the year that Andrew Wiggins was an All-Star starter,
that was a joke.
Come on.
That was a joke. And to be honest, Mike Conley, as much as I love him on our team, he made the All-Star game one year, and it was more like, hey, you've been a really solid vet for a long time, but he didn't deserve it either.
Here's a question for you that's Wolves related. Now, obviously, it could be different year trajectories, different scenarios, because Jamal Murray's already got a chip. But All-Star game-wise, could Jamal Murray be the new Mike Conley, where he's always in contention to make an All-Star game, but never gets in?
It could be. I mean, the guard positions it's such a deep thing. And every year, you get a couple more studs that come out, so it's very possible that he's always a bridesmaid, never the bride. And, kind of, he's not like stirring the drink really like a lot of guards and point guards do because of the Joker. So the Joker kind of steals some of his thunder. That could really possibly be a thing.
And here's another question. What do you think? Do you think that's NBA All Star? Now, obviously, team players like LeBron uh, don't care about this. Players like KD don't care about this. But is making the All Star team, is it about the achievement, or is it more about, like, here's an example of what I'm talking about. I don't think that D'Lo would have gotten that huge contract if he didn't make an All-Star team. I really don't think so. Is it more about this is going to help the bottom line in my next contract, or is it more about, oh, I made the All-Star game, yay, I get to play for 15 minutes?
I think making your first one is about, now I'm considered an all-star.
Yep.
You know, now I can put that on my resume. Now I can put that in negotiations. I think that's very important. And then I think anywhere between your second and your maybe seventh are maybe kind of like you're not that important. But once you start getting more than that, I think now you're stacking resume for Hall of Fame stuff. You know,
Yep.
like LeBron James, I think 100% cares. I think he 100% wants to know that he has more All-Star game appearances than anyone else. You know, like those are things that he can check off his list to, you know, for the greatest of all time type thing. Like those are, you know, some of those accomplishments are important to them.
Yeah, like if, for example, I'll always remember and I think LeBron James is a huge part of this. Didn't Zydrunas Ilgauskas make an All-Star team?
Probably.
I
I mean, because
believe.
they were number. Did he make? I think he made it before LeBron.
Oh, was that before LeBron?
He could play a little bit, but the East was also really, really bad for a long time. Like even in the Jordan era, like there was like the Bulls and kind of like nobody else. You know, the Pistons were hot, but then they fell apart. Like the East has had some real down like decades for overall talent. So sometimes they're scratching to put some guys in there.
I was wrong. He made one LeBron's rookie year, and then 2005 as well. He made an All-Star game. Didn't on the LeBron there would be an interesting article if someone wants to write it about players that LeBron made All-Stars.
Drugged to the All-Star game?
Yeah, didn't Anderson Varejao make it?
I would be surprised at that. That would
really?
Be, yeah, that would be, if he did, that is impressive.
I will look it up. But so congratulations.
Mo Williams?
What's that?
Did Mo Williams make one?
He might have.
I mean, I know he had a 50-point game, but yeah, I mean, there's been some real questionable Eastern Conference. Yeah, there's been 100%. Some questionable Eastern Conference guys.
Yeah, when he was a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Mo Williams made it in 2009 to the All-Star game.
Yeah,
which is just let's see what he did that year.
He played next to LeBron.
I mean, pretty much. Now, obviously, the NBA was a little different. This is before the Curry revolution, so they weren't shooting as much threes. It was, to his credit, career high 17.8 points, shot 43% from the field. But I mean, like, that's pretty much like Jordan Clarkson now. Like, that would be like Jordan Clarkson, who's a good player, making it would be not an All-Star. Yeah, it'd be like D'Lo making the All-Star game this year.
Yeah, right.
Essentially.
I heard something the other day, like everyone's talking about this big point explosion and man, there's no offense and you know, it's all offense. There's no defense.
Yeah.
We're on pace right now to have the 28th most field goals made. Like, it's not even like this is like people are making more shots than ever before. Like in the 80s, there was like eight of the 10 years, teams were making more shots than they're making now. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it is a 3-pointer, you know, has upped some of the, you know, the points per shot type thing. But, you know, people are just kind of over exaggerating on things. It's just, there's so much talent right now and people know how to be efficient. Like the efficient use of shots and efficient use of the 3-point line is something that, you know, is more of an analytics based marker that has helped these people put up these giant numbers.
Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned that. It's just the players are, like you said, so much better, so much more efficient. And the other thing is you it's a different game. Like back in the day, centers would take 3 dribbles. Now Cat still sometimes does this, but takes 3 dribbles, does a little jump hook, puts it in the basket. Now what centers are doing, they're spotting up behind the 3-point line and taking threes. It's just a different game. Doesn't mean that it's better. I think it's better, but it doesn't mean that it's worse either. Were there opportunities for the grit and grind? Where was it great when, now obviously I wasn't alive for this, but the bad boy Pistons, yeah, that was a vibe for a little bit, but it's just not where the NBA is right now.
Yeah, if you didn't have a lot of skill, a lot of times you just pushed people. If you go back and watch, it's not hard. Everyone wants to romanticize about the 90s basketball and stuff like that. YouTube has games, like full games. You could put in, 86 Bulls or 96 Bulls, and you can find a whole game. Watch it. I bet you won't get very far before you're like, this is ugly basketball. Like I've watched Magic Johnson games. Like, you don't watch the highlights, find a whole game and watch that game, and you will see how terrible the average player is. Like, you will watch maybe 15 to 20 travels during the game just because guys will literally pick the ball up and then dribble it again. Like, what are you doing? Like, real elementary school type mistakes. People are like running into each other. Like, the coordination level was not there. Like, it's just poor basketball. So the skill level is 10 times higher. And I've said this before, like, Naz Reid is probably 5 times better basketball player than Patrick Ewing. Like, if Naz Reid was playing back in that era, like if you took the current day Naz Reid and put him in, 92, he might be the MVP of the NBA. Like, there just wasn't 6'10" guys that could, in and out dribble, shoot threes, dunk, off the dribble pass with both hands. Like, those humans didn't exist. If you were 6'10" or above, like you said, you put your hand up, you got your post feed, and you crab dribbled 5 times and you did a hook shot. Like, that was what you did every play. Like, there just wasn't much talent. And the talent now is out of this world.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'll bet you if you watch like that, not like you're saying, like 1996 game, it would look like. Do you remember that scene from Space Jam where Bugs Bunny pulls down the projector screen and they're showing like basketball from like 1940?
It's
and
what it's like.
It's just a bunch of white guys just like passing it around and
it's
moving
really
like in straight lines.
It's really like that when you watch like Magic Johnson stuff. It's like, Jesus, like his dribble was nipple high the whole time. Like he would have 40 turnovers this game by people just stealing the ball from him. Like, you can't dribble like that anymore without people just taking it from you. So yeah, I mean, it's a different era. We've got so much talent. These players they're just dripping talent, and the court almost has to be 10 feet wider to support all the speed and talent that we have. So anyone who's watching basketball is lucky to be alive right now, because it's a beautiful sport, and just be thankful that the talent is so rich.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good place to put an exclamation point. Do not worry, because we are going to, as it happens in this next week or so, probably get up another show maybe this weekend. But for sure, we're going to get our thoughts up about trade deadline, whatever goes down in that. I talked a little bit in the solo show on Tuesday, but we'll for sure get your thoughts as well, because it's going to be a big week in the NBA. Of course, the Timberwolves, they play, if you're listening to this on a Thursday night, they play tomorrow against the Magic, and then the next night against Houston. Should be wins.
If we beat Orlando, Chris Finch is in the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what the thing is, we can't overlook them. We can't.
No,
we got it. We got to put the pedal to the metal. I'll just say I was at a game. This was before Paolo Banchero. This is this year that they drafted Jalen Suggs. I was at the Magic game where they blew it in the fourth quarter. It looked a lot like that Charlotte game. We lost to basically Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony at home. So we can't overlook it. We got to get it done. And also I want to mention, don't forget, join us on the 15th at Park Tavern for a live podcast after the game versus Portland. And if you can't make that one, make sure you go to their other watch parties. It's called the Thirsty Pups Wolves Watch Parties. They have one on Tuesday, Thursday, and next Monday. And of course, we'll be there on Thursday. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
And this is the Running with the Wolves podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. Give us a question. Just give us whatever you think we need. And as always, go Wolves.